Sup guys, Mikefix here, and today we're making this. This is the first time I've made a sign that's anything like this using just a scroll saw. So you don't need a laser cutter to cut out these templates. Bear with me, I'm battling a little bit of seasonal allergies. But today I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try to cut out each of these different colors that I've made for this New York sign as individual full pieces, and then put all of that on the board after, so that they're all different colors and all different pieces. I think it would look really cool that way, actually. There's part of me that wants to keep these light brown pieces empty and have the dark sat in, but I'll determine that once I cut everything else out. I'll be able to see. So yeah, this sign is it's actually for Smile Zone hockey tournament. It's a local charity, so I'm donating the sign to their silent auction. So hopefully people like it and it doesn't come back to me. Okay, looking pretty good. So I'll cut this down now. Just do a quick rough cut. And then I'll head over to the scroll saw and start getting this all cut out. So the idea here is each of these pieces here are going to be their own individual piece fully cut out. When it comes to the bigger pieces here, they're going to be its own piece. Same with even the border. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do first is just cut everything down right to size and then just work outside in. What I will have to do is I'm not going to be able to just drill a hole and feed my saw blade through it because it's too small, or the saw blade's too big, and I'm going to end up losing material for the rest of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a tiny little cut along the side to get to the next level, you know? So I'll cut in and then I'll start cutting through the whole piece. Hopefully I'm able to do that without breaking anything first or without hitting the edge of my scroll saw. I tried to keep this piece a little bit smaller, but not too small where it's an insignificant piece. Let's say you're hanging in your basement. So yeah, I think the only way we'll know if it's a good idea or not is just to start. So let's get going. Got the outline cut out. Turned out mint. I think it's because I switched. I was rocking this 1/118th of an inch wide blade, but now I cut that down to pretty much an 1/80th of an inch on the blade. So yeah, I'm using this skip tooth, really small blade. It's perfect. It honestly cuts better. This 1/2 inch piece of plywood, it honestly cuts it better than this regular tooth or even the hook tooth. It cuts it so smooth and really quick. The great part about it is that I can use it to make these cuts. I'm going to sand these down until the pencil lines, but I can get these cuts out perfect. So I'm hoping that with some of these cuts here, these 90-degree cuts, even more than 90-degree cut, I'll be able to maneuver this blade a lot better for that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take the tension a little bit off of the blade so that it is able to move without snapping. So yeah, let's let's try it out. Worst case scenario, I just ruined this piece. Best case scenario, it turns out perfect. So let's see. So what I realized is this piece that I already cut is all flopping out here. It's getting caught on the side of this plate. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab a little bit of painter's tape and just tape up as I go the spots that I've already done. But so far, knock on wood, it's turning out pretty good. And the technique is fairly decent. So I got the outline cut out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some Instant Bond and glue this back together. And hopefully just maybe use a little bit of wood filler, sand it. But it's looking pretty good. It's just very delicate. So you just have to be careful. That's why I like using that little tape trick. I got everything done and cut out. It turned out pretty good. This section here, that section was pretty tough, and you can see all the burn marks. It was a little bit rough on the blade, but good thing the blades don't cost much, and I have a bunch of them. So what I'm going to do now is individually sand all these pieces. They'll fit better. Like already this doesn't fit back into where the R goes, and then I'm gonna have to glue all these back up. So I think what I'm gonna do is sand them all first and then do the glue up, and just make sure anywhere that's cut not to sand it and take off even more material so that everything still fits in perfect. But going pretty good. I mean, at least for the first time that I'm doing it. So let's get this thing away. I'll bust, I'm going to have to hand sand all this, unfortunately. Just all the tiny crevices, all these little nooks. So, yeah. Everything's cut out and dry fitting up pretty well. As you can see, it's a little bit of a tight fit. But for these pieces that I had to cut into, I'm just going to quickly glue those up and then use some wood filler and sand it down before I do any staining. The glue I'm using for that is just this Instant Bond. Honestly, works perfect, especially for something small like this. Just put a little bit of this on one side, spray this onto the other side, touch them together. A second later, they're bonded. So I'll show you how I do that. You don't need a lot. So just one little dab there. Spray the piece you're going onto. Just like that. line it up, and bond them together. There you go. Bond it together, no problem. So yeah, I'm just gonna get a little bit of wood filler to just cover up this little line here. Just looks like this, kind of like a tub of ice cream. Just it's almost like sandy. So just take a little bit on your finger, and then apply it where you want. I like rubbing it in a bit, but this stuff does a really good job. Look at that. That's without sanding. Looks great already. I'm gonna have to do this process to a couple of the pieces, so give me a sec. I'm gonna do that now. When you're using a washer to outline it, I'll show you how I usually do it. So, pretty easy. You'll just line up your pencil and just keep it tight against the inside of the circle around the washer, and it'll leave a perfect outline. So there it is. Easy as that. It pretty much is just however this distance from your piece to that line is just however thick this is of your washer. So you could do a tiny little washer, it'd be a smaller line. You do a huge washer, it'd be even bigger. But this trick works really well. And then just pop off the template, and there you go. Fully cut out. It's looking great, actually. And I did throw on the back a little keyhole slot for hanging. I like doing that before I get anything glued up or any finishing touches, just so I don't have to worry about putting this face where everything's going to get glued up on a workbench or anything so that it gets scratched up. Now I'm going to take all of these pieces and organize them into 3 different piles. So on the template, there's going to be a light brown, a dark brown, and then an in-between. I think the in-between brown, I think I'm going to, like, it'll be no stain. So this will just be like a raw piece. Then 1 coat of stain, and then multiple coats of stain. So we'll see how that goes. Let me get this quickly organized. I'm going to be using 2 different stains. One of them is this Briar Smoke Varathane wood stain. I just had it from another project, but I think it'll be really good. And then at the end of it all, I think the whole piece, before I even put it all together, I'm going to use this Varathane exterior gloss finish just to seal everything up in case they want to put it outside, just to completely protect the wood so that there's nothing that can cause cracking or expanding or shrinking. So I'm using just a regular foam brush for the stain, and then I'm going to apply the Varathane, the exterior gloss coat, with just a plastic bristle brush. So yeah, again, this will have multiple coats. I'm pretty much going almost full dark on this one, where you can almost not even see the wood grain. And then this one, I'm just going to do 1 coat on. The faces of the piece I'm going to cover. The sides, it doesn't really matter because they're going to be glued right beside each other, but I might end up doing just the sides. The back really doesn't matter at all. So yeah, let's get going on that. I think the easiest way to glue this piece up is by putting this the outside piece in first, just with the Instant Bond. So that's all in. And then I can take this entire piece. It fits pretty snugly together. What I'll do is put a bunch of wood glue just within this area, like the whole spot, and then come in and just drop this piece in, press it all down, and just let it sit. And after glue up, everything's looking mint. For the first time making a sign like this, I think it went really well. Make sure you like, comment what you want to see next, and subscribe. Check you in the next one.